Hey guys, we're going to start with chapter 24 of The Tiger Rising. All right, if you remember, Sistine and Willie Mae have met for the first time, and Sistine kind of is, in a way, kind of almost making fun of her, calling her a prophetess, because she calls Sistine an angry liar. And so they kind of discuss that. Rob remembers a time whenever he and his mom were talking under the tree and looking up at it and saying that the green color was the first green, the original green, and they talk about just how pretty it is. It was the first one that God ever thought up. And then he talks to his father a little bit, and his father puts on some more medicine on his legs. So anyway, so we're going to start with chapter 24. Here we go. "Where's the prophetess?" Sistine asked him as soon as he stepped off the bus. She was wearing a bright orange dress with pink circles all over it. Her left knee was skinned and bleeding, and her right eye was swollen. "Huh?" said Rob. He stood and stared at her and wondered how she could get into so many fights in only a half a day at school. "Willie Mae," said Sistine. "Where is she?" "She's vacuuming," said Rob. Sistine started walking purposefully toward the Kentucky Star. She talked to Rob without looking back. "My mother found out that I was wearing her clothes to school," she said. "She took them away from me. I'm in trouble. I'm not supposed to come out here anymore." "You know," said Rob, "you don't always got to get into a fight. Sometimes if you don't hit them back, they leave you alone." She whirled around and faced him. "I want to get in fights," she said fiercely. "I want to hit them back. Sometimes I hit them first." "Oh," said Rob. Sistine turned back around. "I'm going to find the prophetess," she said loudly. "I'm going to ask her what we should do about that tiger." "You can't ask her about the tiger," said Rob. Beauchamp said I ain't supposed to tell nobody, especially not Willie Mae." Sistine didn't answer him. She started to run, and Rob, to keep up with her, ran too. They found Willie Mae vacuuming the shag carpet in room 203. Sistine went up behind her and tapped her on the back. Willie Mae whirled around with her fist clenched like a boxer. "We need some answers," Sistine shouted over the roar of the vacuum cleaner. Willie Mae bent down and turned the vacuum cleaner off. "Well," she said, "look who's here." She kept her hand balled up as if she was still searching for something to hit. "What's in your hand?" Sistine asked. Willie Mae uncurled her fist and showed Sistine the bird. "Oh," said Sistine. And Rob realized then why he liked Sistine so much. He liked her because when she saw something beautiful, the sound of her voice changed. All the words she uttered had an oof sound to them, as if she was getting punched in the stomach. The sound was in her voice when she talked about the Sistine Chapel and when she looked at the things he carved in the wood. It was there when she said the poem about the tiger burning bright, and it was there when she talked about Willie Mae being a prophetess. Her words sounded all the way those things made him feel, as if the world, the real world, had been punched through so that he could see something wonderful and dazzling on the other side of it. "Did Rob make it?" Sistine asked Willie Mae. "He did," said Willie Mae. "It looks alive. Is it like your bird that you let go?" "Just about exactly," said Willie Mae. Said Sistine. She looked at Willie Mae, then she turned and looked at Rob. She said. "We need to ask you something." "Ask on," said Willie Mae. "If you knew about something that was locked up in a cage, something big and beautiful that was locked away unfairly for no good reason, and you had the keys to the cage, would you let it go?" Willie Mae sat down on the bed. A cloud of dust rose up around her. "Lord God," she said, "what you two children got in a cage?" "It's a tiger," Rob said. He felt like he was the one who had to say it. He was the one who found the tiger. He was the one who had the keys to the cage. What?" said Willie Mae. "A tiger," said Sistine. "Do Jesus," exclaimed Willie Mae. "It's true," said Sistine. Willie Mae shook her head. She looked up at the ceiling and she let out a breath in a loud, slow hiss of disapproval. "All right," she said. "Why don't you all show me where you got this tiger locked up in a cage?" Chapter 25. The three of them walked through the woods in silence. Sistine and Rob chewed 8-ball gum, and Willie Mae smoked a cigarette, and nobody said a word. "Lord God," said Willie Mae when they came up to the cage. She stared at the pacing animal. Ain't no reason to doubt the fierceness of God when he makes something like that, she said. Who was the fool that caged this tiger up? He belongs to Beauchamp, Rob told her. Beauchamp, said Willie Mae with disgust. She shook her head. One person in the world that don't need to be owning no tiger, and that's Beauchamp. See, said Sistine, it's not right, is it? Just like you told Rob about your bird and how you had to let it go. A bird, said Willie Mae, that's one thing. Tiger belonging to Beauchamp is another. Tell Rob that he should unlock the cage and let him go, Sistine demanded. I ain't, said Willie Mae. You got to ask yourself what's going to happen to this tiger after you let him go. How's he going to live? Rob was flooded with sad relief. Willie Mae wasn't going to make him do it. He wasn't going to lose the tiger. Panthers live in these woods, argued Sistine. They survive. Used to, said Willie Mae. They don't know more. Sistine put her hands on her hips. You're not saying what you believe, she accused. You're not talking like you have in the past. That's because I ain't a prophetess, said Willie Mae. All I am is somebody speaking the truth. And the truth is there ain't nobody you can do for this tiger except just let it be. But it's not right, said Sistine. Ain't got nothing to do with it, muttered Willie Mae. Sometimes right don't count. I can't wait until my father comes to get me, said Sistine. He knows what's right. He'll set this tiger free. Rob looked at Sistine. Your daddy ain't coming for you, he said softly, shaking his head, amazed at what he suddenly knew to be the truth. My father is coming to get me, Sistine said through tight lips. Nah, said Rob sadly. He ain't. He's a liar, like your mama said. You're the liar, said Sistine in a dark, cold voice. Her face was so white that it seemed to glow before him. And I hate you, she said to him. Everybody at school hates you too, even the teachers. You are a sissy. I hope I never see you again. She turned and walked away, and Rob stood and considered her words. He felt them on his skin like shards of broken glass. He was afraid to move. He was afraid of how deep they might go inside of him. She don't mean it, said Willie Mae. She don't mean none of what she say right now. Rob shrugged. He bent and scratched his legs hard as he could. He scratched and scratched, digging his nails in deep, trying to get to the bottom of the itch that was always there. Stop it, said Willie Mae. Rob looked up at her. Let me tell you something, she said. I would love to see this tiger rise up out of this cage. Yes, I would like to see him rise up out and attack Beauchamp. Serve him right for keeping a wild animal locked up, putting you in the middle of this and giving you the keys to this cage. Come on, she grabbed hold of Rob's hand. Let's get on up out of here. As they walked back to the Kentucky Star, Rob thought about what Willie Mae had said about the tiger rising on up. It reminded him of what he had said about his sadness needing to rise up. And when he thought about the two things together, the tiger and his sadness, the truth circled over and above him and then came and landed lightly on his shoulder. And he knew what he had to do. All right, we're going to stop right there. I wonder what he's going to do. What do you think he feels like he has to do? We will find out next. Bye, guys. Have a good day.